Pablo Escobar.
Escobar, a ruthless killer.
Si Pablo Escobar.
The Colombian drug barons.
Hey, you know Pablo Escobar, the drug lord?
Pablo Escobar was the world's most successful drug trafficker.
Pablo Escobar was a very charismatic person.
No, I just think that he just turned bad. That he just, probably the stress and whatever it was. And
Pablo was born into a poor farming family near Medellin in northern Colombia. Escobar started his career with petty crime, and he smuggled electronic sets in the beginning. But soon he realized the profits in drugs and steadily migrated to, at first, smuggling, and eventually carting shipments of marijuana. By the end of the 70s, Escobar and various associates of his began trafficking cocaine out of Colombia. The country has never remained the same since then. Until today, Colombia remains the largest cocaine producer in the world. By the early 80s, the Pablo Escobar-led Medellin cartel was shipping an immense amount of cocaine to an insatiable U.S. market. At some point, even El Chapo Guzman helped him smuggle cocaine. Because he didn't particularly save his money in the bank, it is quite hard to estimate Escobar's wealth. But here are some fair postulations. It is believed that Escobar made an average of $420 million in a week by the mid-80s, which translates to roughly $22 billion in a year. By the end of that decade, Escobar was supplying 80% of the world's cocaine, and he was smuggling an average of 15 tons of that supply into the United States every day. To nail the coffin on the suggestions of his wealth, Escobar frequently appeared on the Forbes billionaire list. Between 1987 and 1993, when he was shot dead, Forbes featured Escobar on its list annually. Escobar was worth $3 billion in 1987, which would be triple that amount today. Estimates place Escobar's total worth at the time of his death to around $30 billion. He spent $2,500 a month on rubber bands just to hold his cash, and he once offered to pay off Colombia's $10 billion debt. Escobar bought apartments, bought a zoo, and bought a football club. These acts endeared him to the locals of Medellin. His brother, Roberto, wrote in his 2009 book that Pablo was earning so much that each year he would write off 10% of the money because the rats would eat it in storage, or it would be damaged by water or lost. That is a lot of money. Pablo Escobar is long dead now, but a burning question persists. Where has all that infamous wealth gone? Escobar is known to be a notorious spendthrift. He once burnt a sum of $2 million to keep his daughter warm. And to burn $2 million logically implies you have an excess of wealth. The man bought haciendas, resorts, and everything he fancied, but the money still kept coming in faster than he could spend it. And just because he died doesn't mean the wealth disappeared automatically. The drug lord was notorious for hiding stacks of cash in walls, beneath the floors, and other hidden spaces. He did so when evading arrest. Until today, his money is still being discovered. So, where is Pablo Escobar's money? Keep watching this video and you will find out. It's a complex question to answer because of how varying the answers are. After the United States bid for narcotics dealers' extradition from Colombia was successful, Pablo Escobar was adamant on not getting caught by the authorities because he knew he would not be able to influence his term in an American prison. Due to this, Pablo Escobar was always on the run from the authorities. At some point, he offered the Republic of Colombia $10 billion for a full pardon of his crimes. Because he was always on the run and he didn't particularly trust banks, he usually went about with his money and hid it around him. Pablo's money is still being discovered to date, but the idea to stash his money away wasn't Pablo's, it was his brother's. In fact, the theory that Escobar's fortune remains out there comes from his brother Roberto's book, The Accountant Story, Inside the Violent World of the Medellin Cartel. In the book, Roberto Escobar wrote, "The biggest headache was hiding the money. I created the system of caletas, hiding small places in the walls of houses and apartments. There can be as much as $5 million in cash in a single caleta, and spurring the rumors of a missing fortune. The last part is important. The infamous drug lord hid millions, perhaps even billions, of his incredible fortune across Colombia before he was killed in 1993. And after Escobar had his henchmen hide his money on a property or in a stash, he usually killed them so he would be the only one to know where the money was hidden. It has also been speculated that Pablo Escobar hid money in caves and deep in the Colombian jungle as well. But beyond raw cash, there are also other ways to trace Pablo Escobar's money. Say what you will about the man, but Pablo Escobar was quite smart. Beyond simply burying it, he also spread his money in property and art. Escobar had aircrafts in which he invested a lot. After his death, these planes were forcefully taken by drug traffickers from his family. In order to do this, Escobar's wife would be made to sign the plane over to the government, and a government official would be bribed to facilitate the transaction. Escobar's numerous farms were also extorted from his wife in this manner. In this manner, the Cali cartel and Los Pepes, who wanted compensation for helping the government bring Escobar down, collected whatever they could from the Escobar family. After he died, a large portion of his wealth was seized by the Colombian government. The authorities also made his family sign over any liquid assets left behind. The government also seized any money of Escobar's it could trace to his close associates. In addition, Escobar's cartel members also took whatever they could lay their hands on for personal gain. Some of them defected to other cartels, and in doing so disclosed some places Pablo Escobar's money could be found. Escobar did not leave a particular amount to his wife and children upon his death, but Roberto and Alba Marina, both his siblings, have been accused of taking some of the drug lord's money by Juan Pablo, Escobar's son. His son claimed he sent his aunt Alba to get some money at some point, and she returned with a pittance. He blamed his father's guards. In 2015, it was reported that a 65-year-old peasant, Mariana Cartolos, found a sum of $600 million in several big blue containers buried on his family property. He claimed to have found this stash as he was digging trenches for irrigation on his family land. The money has been strongly linked to Escobar's long-hidden fortune. Mariana Cartolos surrendered the money to authorities and was awarded $3,000 from the Colombian government for his honesty. According to a BBC report, Pablo Escobar's nephew said he found a plastic bag with money worth $18 million hidden in the wall of one of his uncle's houses. In what sounded like a line from a magical realism story, Nicolas Escobar said a vision indicated where to look for the money in the apartment where he lives in the city of Medellin, Pablo's cartel's base. Nicolas also said it was not the first time he found money in places where his uncle used to avoid capture, meaning there could still be more on the property and God knows where else. It is safe to assume that all of Pablo's money has not been found. So, the question of what has happened to the rest and where it is hidden will always linger. Perhaps they have all been eaten by rats and insects, destroyed and washed away by the elements. Maybe. We can only speculate and wait, at least until another secret stash is discovered in yet another hidden crypt. What do you think about Escobar's elaborate stash? Do you have any idea where he could have hidden his money before he died? Please leave a comment below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting content like this.